Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom.
Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about 90 Day, The Last Resort, Season 1, Episode 11, That Last Text. So is it? Yeah, that last text. So before I begin, just like with any other video, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Join the family, hit that like button, leave your comments so I know what you thought about this episode and these couples. Are they truly couples or are they just going through the motions? And tell a friend to tell a friend that Mom or Kay does all the 90-day franchises over here, including the tell-alls and soon to be upcoming The Family Chantel and Married at First Sight. So, all right, let's get started. On last night's episode, we're going to start with a quick scene. We have Ed and Liz playing life-size chess. Liz said they had a good time and they even have a good-looking waiter. And Ed says to Liz, he says, so is the waiter your type? First of all, how come she can't say they're having a good time and, oh, the waiter's cute without Ed thinking something else? I mean, they're at the resort together. I think they have a lot of trust issues going on. That's clearly why they're at the resort. But you know what? We'll see how things turn out. I mean, spoiler alert, sorry if you don't already know, they did actually get married about 2 months ago. So technically, I guess they're together and maybe this resort and the therapy worked. But then again, I didn't see too much therapy going on the show. They really were there to talk to some experts for like a day or two, and then they mix and mingles as couples. So call it what you want. All right, so then they get to talking about going to the strip club and what happened the night before with the guys. And Liz tells Ed, you know what? Y'all going to the strip club didn't turn out to be as big a secret as Jovi thought it was because you were on speakerphone, okay? And Yara heard everything. And, you know, what was I going to do? Lie to her? So I'm sure, Liz was saying, I'm sure that Yara is in trouble. Well, that's not true. Let me say it again. I think Liz was trying to say that Yara is going to make it for Jovi, like he's in trouble with her for lying to her. And he should be, you know, because there's no reason for secrets. She already knows that he goes to strip clubs anyway. She don't like it. So what was the point of throwing a guy's night if you don't say where you're going? I'm sure she said where she was going with the ladies. So it's not a big deal. And that's why it comes across like Jovi is doing extras. And to be honest, he is. So then Ed and Liz say Jovi and Yara are at the resort, but they don't really get a vibe from them like they're a real married couple, right? Like with goals and aspirations. They view them as like a cardboard couple, like looking for them. I think he was trying to say like they look good, like being a cardboard cutout, like they're into materialistic things. I'm like, well, at least they're married. At least they were married on the show. And yeah, they want to look good. I understand that, but that's no reason to be talking about them like that. I mean, y'all were talking about the strip club, not who they are as people. But anyways, I digress. All right. So they also, Ed and Liz, talk about Kalani and Asuelu. Ed said that Asuelu had a great time at the strip club, and he does blame Asuelu for going and having a good time. And he says that Kalani is not trying. Now, I will give Ed that. Kalani is not trying. I've said many times, many episodes, I think that Kalani is checked out. She was checked out even before Dallas the Hall Pass came to fly out to see her, to see where her feelings were. Because that right there, to me, is disrespectful. You know, she's at the resort just to work through some things, but you're like step into that. So, and then Kalani still went to go see him too. I mean, if you want to break up, which eventually it seems like they're going to, why entertain him at the resort though? That's the part that gets me, but maybe I'm old fashioned when it comes to that. All right. So Liz says that Kalani is doing what she wants to do and living her best life, but she doesn't blame Kalani for doing anything like that, for all Asuelu's cheating. And she feels like Kalani also needs to tell Asuelu what it is. And I agree with that. She definitely does need to tell him what it is. Now, later in the evening, the couples minus Kalani and Asuelu are on a night cruise together for the last night. together, and the cruise even features Michael on FaceTime. Yara says she's not in the best of mood because Jovi kept a secret for her about going out, and now she's got to put on a smile and will try to enjoy the trip. But back at the resort, though, Kalani and Asuelu are meeting with the therapist. Kalani's at an emergency meeting so she can finally say what's been going on with her hall pass and let Asuelu know, like, this is not going to work out. And she feels that the therapists are there, yes, to help, but to buffer the situation. So when Kalani and Asuelu and the therapist sit down, the therapists are like, okay, Kalani, so why did you call the meeting? And when Kalani said that, she's having a hard time getting past her feelings, and she saw that earlier in the day or the day before when Asuelu was going through his phone, he was deleting messages. She got suspicious. She was like, is he still cheating, or like, what's he doing? Because that's how she found out he was cheating before. Asuelu said he wasn't cheating. He was just, deleting regular messages. But in Kalani's mind, she's like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and see what Dallas wants so we could talk about what we want, where we want to go in the future. And so that's when Kalani dropped the bombshell. She said, yes, the hall pass came out. I was supposed to go over there just to talk, but one thing led to another, and I didn't come back till the morning. So Asuelu was like, oh, so that's where you were? Yeah, because I tried to call and text and no answer. And so Asuelu is really broken down. You can see his emotions coming through. He's got his hands over his head. He's like squirming in his chair. And then when Kalani told Asuelu, listen, why don't we just not do this anymore? And Asuelu said, so you want to divorce me? After a long pause, Kalani looked at Asuelu and shook her head like that she did. And Asuelu broke down again. Now, the therapist, while Asuelu was breaking down with the news, and Kalani was emotional too, the therapist said, well, there's lots of things to work out. We have to work out the co-parenting situation. And I want you all to try to maintain a friendship because it works better in the long run. That's where they're trying to get out. But I think Kalani will definitely try to co-parent. I think that maybe Asuelu, now that he can see that Kalani has ventured out, she found someone, and that Kalani says that is into her emotions. He's into wanting to know how she feels, how she's doing, even in the intimacy department. They want to please each other. Since Asuelu was out doing what he was doing, reckless, now he knows that maybe like this is truly it. And to know that Kalani went to the hall pass, who's actually at the resort, but just at another location on the resort. Yeah, I think that was the wake-up call for Asuelu. I think that the therapist could have tried to, maybe it was cut out. I don't know. Maybe could have tried to talk a little bit more. I know, and intervene just a little bit. I know that Kalani was getting out her feelings, and she definitely needed to. I mean, this has been a buildup from like day one when we learned about the tongue, okay? But I just think that the therapist could have at least did a one-on-one, not just a group session with not just Kalani and Asuelu, with everybody, because it didn't seem like they were really getting to the root of the actual issue, in my opinion. Then the therapist, after Kalani said everything she needed to say and Asuelu was trying to process the feelings, they also said that there's going to be a group session later on, which will be on the next episode, which happens to be the final episode, to where everyone comes together to decide if they're going to have a recommitment ceremony. And they want Kalani and Asuelu to come back for that to see if there's any more feelings they need to get through. And I'm thinking, no, there's not. Kalani said what she had to say. It's been written all over her face. It's been all in her body language. Asuelu knows it. Kalani knows it. So I just think that maybe, I don't know, for some reason the therapists are, in my opinion, are missing this part of what's really going on in this relationship. Now, I'm not a therapist, but I mean, just observation just tells the tale. All right, so now let's jump back to the boat trip. So it's Ed, Liz, Yara, Jovi, Angela, and Michael on FaceTime. So Ed brings up the conversation about the strip club. So Ed just out the blue says, so Jovi, tell Yara who you was texting last night. And Jovi is like, what are you talking about? Trying to like play it coy. But Ed said, yeah, no, tell her about the stripper that you've been talking to, the one that's in Jamaica and everything. I'm like, why would Ed say this? Like, why is this a topic of conversation now? And first of all, Jovi invited you to the strip club. Okay. Yeah, he had a like little secret, didn't tell Yara at first, and you asked Liz for permission. But all this extra stuff, like, what did he think this was going to accomplish on a boat trip? Well, you know what happened. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you. From Jovi, things exploded because Ed just really started to get real mouthy. Jovi was like, man, you don't have to go there. Why don't you be quiet? And then Ed was like, well, what do you think your daughter would think about this? Jovi jumped up, was like, you know what? Don't talk about my daughter. Don't bring my daughter into this. I will mess you up. And production had to step in between Ed and Jovi because Ed was like, bring it on, bring it on. And then Liz was like, don't do that. Don't step in front of my man. And so then she went to walk away. Now Yara is upset. She's yelling at Jovi. She's like, why do you want strippers? Am I not good enough for you? And then she throws a drink in his face. And then Jovi gets up and leaves the situation. Angela goes to confront Yara, and eventually Yara comes to sit back down. But it's like, how's this relaxing on your last day? What was Ed's point of saying Jovi texts a stripper? Now, I will say this. I said in last week's video, there is absolutely no reason as a married man, as many years as Jovi has been to Yara, why he would still have a stripper that he claims is his friend, that he smashed, that he went on vacations with, trips, gifts, no telling else with this stripper in your phone, because it gives that at any given moment, you will straddle the line of infidelity. That's what it gives. But again, it was out of line for Ed to even mention stuff like that. That just threw the whole evening off, a relaxing before the commitment ceremony. So when they come back to shore, Jovi gets off the boat and he walks away. He walks by himself to the room. And then Yara comes in a little bit after, and she's saying to him, like, so how come you didn't tell me? What's all the big to do that's what's going on? And Jovi's like, I don't want to talk about it. Feels like I was being ganged up on. And so can we just like let it be? Nothing happened, and that's it. So then Yara said, and I'm glad that she did. She said, so you have the stripper in your phone? So what would have happened if she would have answered and showed up to the club? What would happen then? Exactly. That's what I was just saying. What would happen if, Jovi straddled the line of infidelity because you still have this stripper, regardless of a stripper, is a female friend that you had relations with in your phone, your wife doesn't like, and your wife knows that you still like her or have a thing for her, think she's pretty or whatever, and you think this is okay? You think any woman, girlfriend, wife, or whatever would go for this? No. Jovi was 100% wrong, and Ed was 100% wrong too. Oh, let me say this: when they were on the boat, when Ed said that about the daughter, when Jovi had to walk away because he was getting a little bit too hot, which I don't blame him. You don't bring kids into this. Even Yara said, don't, I respect your opinion, Ed, but don't bring kids into this. This isn't, what that's about. And Ed apologized to Yara about bringing the little girl into the situation. Now, when Ed and Liz are in the room, their conversation goes left as well. Ed is actually blaming Liz for sticking up for him while the dispute is going on with Jovi. Ed told Liz, he said, it makes me look weak, like I can't protect myself. He goes, I'm the man. You ought to, step back and let me do what I have to do. He goes, how's it look that you're, stepping up for me? And Liz is saying, well, before a few episodes ago or a couple nights ago for them, she was saying, when they were in a hot tub, when I didn't say something and have your back, you got all mad at me and didn't want to talk to me. So now that I'm having your back, now I'm making you look weak. She's like, whatever, Ed. And so Liz is in her emotions. She gets up to leave, and Ed goes, see, there you go. The counseling is working. The counseling is working. Ed is so obnoxious. He's so obnoxious. I don't know how Liz does it. Liz looks like she has aged a good 10 years from the time we've seen her first on a 90-day franchise till now at the last resort. I mean, it's night and day difference. So after a little bit, we see Ed go talk to Liz. He gives a half apology, but it goes back into conversation again about who can trust who and who has each other's back. And now Liz isn't sure if she wants to be married to Liz and continue on going forward. So after that, when we see Asuelu and Kalani again back in his room, Asuelu is packing, and next thing you know, Kalani knocks on the door, and she says, "You all right?" And Asuelu goes, "Yeah, I guess." So Kalani gives him a hug, and then she said to Asuelu, I'm not trying to hurt you or do anything like that, but I feel it would be best for us to have a quick divorce to get it filed right away so there's no drama. She said that I feel like that's what we need to do so that we both can move on and be better co-parents for the children. And Asuelu in confessional didn't say anything, not in confessional, in confessional, Asuelu said that he felt that maybe this trip would help him and Kalani go forward and they would be still together. Because that's what he really was hoping, like they would stay together. But at the same time, he knows that he lost Kalani. And I don't know. I don't, if the divorce gets done quick, I really can't say because, you have to go through parenting classes for kids and you have to do different little things for the parents to make sure there's a plan in place and then the finances and things like that. But I hope it's amicable when they do, or if the divorce is final and they go from there. I know that Asuelu, because he said it before, feels like he really messed up. So, but I mean, why does he think that Kalani would be around so many times that he's been cheating? I mean, she counted 12, and then I guess the tongue incident was the, no pun intended, the icing on the cake. So that was the end of this episode. Next week is the end of the retreat and time for the recommitment ceremony. We're going to see Liz decide whether she wants to continue to go on or not. We have Angela saying to Michael that I brought divorce papers. We have Kalani saying that she'll go to the commitment ceremony, but she might not say anything. And if Asuelu has truly packed, I don't know if he's going to be there himself. So we'll have to see next week. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, and share. Until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.